back there. Hey Rod, hey Brandon. How's everybody doing? Hi Miss Jean. Betty. Okay y'all, so I came on earlier today and put on a pot of soup, and I'll show you my soup here in a few minutes. So if you missed that video of me putting the soup on, just go back and look on my wall or on my page and you'll see the video of the soup, how I put it together. So now I'm just making some cornbread. I got a cup of cornmeal, self-rising cornmeal, 1 egg, and about a half a cup of buttermilk. Mix that together. Let me go ahead and heat me some oil up back here. Turn my soup down a little bit. And I'm going to put this in the oven. I hope my oven don't smoke my house up. Donnie cooked a cheesecake the other day and he let the butter from the crust run into the bottom of the oven. And I haven't got it cleaned yet, so I wiped it out. But I'm hoping it don't. I've got 2 ovens, but I've got the other one preheating for something else I'm fixing to show y'all. So, hey Sarah, Debbie, Ashley. Deanna and Carol. Hey everybody, thank y'all for joining. So I'm heating up some grease back here. If you've not ever seen me make my cornbread, this is just the small skillet of cornbread. It's just about an 8-inch, 6-inch or 8-inch, I'm not sure, but it's not like the 12-inch skillet. It's not a big one. And I got a cup of cornmeal, a half cup of buttermilk, and 1 egg. And I've got some grease heating up on the back in my iron skillet, and I put a little dry cornmeal in there. When it starts sizzling, I'll pour this in. Alright, so also, let me go ahead, I'll show you my soup in just a minute. Let me go ahead and talk about for a minute what I'm fixing to make. I've got these little miniature Bundt cake pans. And I'm going to make these little mini Bundts. I've made these in cupcakes a lot of times, but I'm actually going to make these in mini Bundts tonight, and I'll show you just in a second. Let me get this in the oven. That's getting hot. I like to let my grease get hot and put some dry cornmeal in there, and that helps it keep it from sticking. Hey, Alan and Melissa and Jagger and Jennifer. Goodness, we got everybody joining today. All right. It's not as hot as I really usually like for it to be, but I'm impatient today. So I'm just gonna go ahead and stick it in the oven. I hope it ain't smoking. Oh no, it's not too bad. Oh well, it's not on, no wonder. I turned my stove on 500. When the stove reaches 500 degrees, my cornbread should be done, okay? All right, so now this is a simple recipe. Y'all have probably seen it 100 times. It's kind of a recipe that I used to go to Weight Watchers. I need to go again. But anyway, it's a Weight Watcher recipe basically where you take a spice cake mix. You can do it with yellow cake mix. You can actually do it with chocolate cake mix. This just happens to be a spice cake mix. And put it in here. And then you take a can, which mine's not a can, but it's the equivalent of a can. This is actually pumpkin that I cooked out and froze. I cut up a pumpkin. I've got some pumpkin that my brother brought me, but I haven't got it cooked out yet this year. So when I get it cooked out, I'm gonna make a pumpkin pie. But this is just some that I had left from last year. And I'm going to put this pumpkin in this spice cake mix. And also, I'm going to add something I'm going to add some chopped pecans. That's not in the Weight Watcher recipe, but you know, protein. Just get a handful out. And I'm just going to run my knife through them. So I'm just going to chop them up and dump them in there. Now, normally, like I said, I usually put these in cupcakes. And they call them pumpkin muffins. But I'm going to make little miniature Bundt cakes out of them. Because I have this Bundt pan, I want to use it. I've used it to make lemon ones. But I haven't made the spice ones yet. I think that they'll be good as a Bundt. And then if I might want to make a drizzle to go on top of them, I think they'll be pretty too. And I might do that, I don't know. I'm just going to, you know, I don't want them just super fine, but just chopping them up. Probably about a cupful is what I'll probably have. And these are pecans. You could use walnuts or almonds, or you don't have to put any nuts in them. But I just thought it would add some texture and be really good. Alright, so I'm going to dump those in. Now, the original recipe, the Weight Watcher recipe, says to just do your cake mix and a can of pumpkin and don't put any eggs or oil or anything like that in it. But sometimes if you don't put a little water in there, they're really kind of thick and goopy. So I'm going to check it out before I'll probably add a little bit of water before I'm done. Just to kind of thin them a little bit. Alright, let's go ahead and start mixing it. And these are not going to be just terrible for you. Yes, they have sugar in them, but you get a lot of nutrients and protein from those nuts, and the pumpkin is healthy. So, you know, you can kind of put a healthy. I'm going to go ahead and add probably a half a cup of water. Maybe not a whole half cup, but I am adding some water to it. Because it's just really pasty if you don't. And also these nuts kind of added some texture too. Yeah, I added a half a cup of water. All those spices, I smell them. I love the cinnamon and clove and ginger, nutmeg. I love all those spices. So you could use a yellow cake mix and add the spices. And also, this is good in a chocolate cake mix. The pumpkin, you don't really realize how that it's got pumpkin in it, but it makes them so moist. So I've done them in the chocolate before. They're really good. That pumpkin just makes it so moist. I've got my oven preheated. I put it on convection. You don't have to put it on convection. That's just what I put mine on. And preheated it at 325. So now I'm going to spray these little pans. Probably not what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to grease them, and you know, mine won't look pretty for long because I've sprayed it. I'm not sure. I'm going to try filling them with a scoop and see if how that works. It's kind of thick. I got it on the whole part. clean that off. I may just pour it in there. I think I got that one too full. I haven't used this pan but a couple times, so I think you fill them about halfway. I'll shake them down before I stick them in the oven. Might be easier to do small scoops and scoop them in there. They make really cute muffins too. If you can get you some fall liners, you know, cupcake liners, they're really cute. I think the nuts will add something good to this. You can make cream cheese, like a cream cheese icing drizzle, and that would be really good to put on top of these if you wanted to fatten them up. But to keep them a little on the lighter side, then don't put the drizzle, because you haven't added any oil or any eggs to this. It's just one spice cake mix and a can of pureed pumpkin, and then of course I added the nuts to it. All right, I'm gonna shake it down. These two are overfilled, so they're probably gonna puff up really high. I don't have enough to fill a whole other pan, but we'll see. I think I can do 2 more. I'll just put them in the middle here. They smell so good. And no, it's not from scratch, but it'll be something quick and easy if you want something some fall dessert. I think it'll be good. They're pretty dense too. The pumpkin really adds a lot of dense texture to it. If I'd have put a little more water in it, that would have been thinner, and I could have probably made them go a little further, but that's okay. This will be fine. Alright. Now, I've heard you can put water in your extra. I don't know that it matters, but I will. There we go. Got a little water to make. Okay. Scratch enough for you, Deb? Yeah. It's kind of semi-homemade, right? There used to be a show on Food Network called Semi-Homemade, and she would use cake mixes and things like that. So, all right. So I'm gonna put this in the oven, probably about 20 minutes, and then I'll check them. So I may not get these done before I go off the air tonight, but if I don't, I will definitely post a picture of them for you. So we'll go ahead and put those in. I'm going to go ahead and set my timer. I like to set my timer when I'm doing baking, because I tend to forget what time it was. Alright, so let's get our soup out. Let me wash my hands. They got cake on them. The cornbread should be done pretty soon. Not hardly there yet. But the soup, I'll tell you guys who missed it earlier. Let me just show you the soup. This is the pot of soup. Cooking since about, what, 1:30? 1:45 I got it on. So it's been cooking all afternoon. Zip me out a little here. Now, I like a lot of broth in mine, so you see it's got plenty of broth in it. Let me set it back over here on the stove. For those of you that missed me putting my soup together, first I browned about a pound and a half probably of ground beef, and then I cut up about a half of an onion because it was a big onion, and I put some onion in there and wilted that down. I cut up 3 pretty large carrots, put that in there. I cut up about a quarter of a cabbage head, cut it up in small pieces. You don't see big chunks of cabbage in the soup. You really wouldn't even know. You might think that was an onion. Just cut it up in small pieces, put that cabbage in there. I put whole kernel corn. I put green peas and green beans. Tomatoes. I had home canned tomatoes, but you can always buy the stewed tomatoes at the store and put those in there. I put tomato sauce, and I used chicken broth. I had it and I wanted to get rid of it. Sometimes I use beef broth. You know, it is beef soup, so beef broth would be fine and be really good. But I had chicken broth and I used it. Either one, chicken broth, beef broth, whatever. Salt, seasoned salt, garlic powder, black pepper, parsley. Just season it up really good. And this is your finished product. And it's really hot, been cooking. You could put it on in a crock pot in the morning and let it cook all day while you're at work, and come home to a bowl of delicious hamburger vegetable soup. Let me get a taste of it. Did I say tomato sauce? I did put tomato sauce in it. That's my favorite kind of soup. It is so good. And I actually think I'm going to put a little more black pepper in it because I really like black pepper. So I'll put some in my bowl here. I did drain the fat off after I browned the hamburger. I'm going to drain that fat off. Or I do. I don't like real greasy. You got chunks of vegetables, chunks of meat, good tomatoey base. And you know what I like? I like to eat my cornbread with this and drink a glass of milk. And I know a lot of people think that's gross. But, you know, when we were in school, when we had soup and chili, what did we drink? We drank milk. I did. So I love milk with my soup. Let me check on my cornbread. It should be about done. It's almost done. Doesn't like very much. That's it, y'all. Now the little cakes that I made, they should be done. They're not done yet. It may take 25 minutes. It just depends on your oven. And I'm just going to keep an eye on them, and I'm going to bake those. And I'll post a picture of those, but I guarantee you they're going to be good. I've had those before. So give those a try if you haven't. It's just something quick to have around. And like I said, you don't have to have the mini Bundt pan that I have. A cupcake pan or a regular Bundt pan is fine. I've not ever made the big Bundt with the pumpkin, but I'm sure it would cook up fine. But the cupcakes are great. They're really good. They're rising up pretty too. This cornbread's just almost done. I just want to let it get just a little bit browner. My oven's at 475. When it gets to 500, that cornbread will be done. I am so excited. I've been waiting all year for this soup. Haven't had any since before the summer. Because Donnie just won't hardly eat it in the summertime. But y'all, I've got this big pot. And yes, that's way too much for me and Donnie. So what we'll probably do is we'll eat it tonight. We'll probably eat it tomorrow night for supper. I don't throw food away. We don't waste. I do make a lot when I make, but we don't care. We eat leftovers. We're fine with that. I repurpose leftovers sometimes, make them a little different. But with the soup, we'll probably have it tomorrow night, and then I'll section it up in smaller bags or bowls and freeze it, and then I'll have soup for lunch anytime I want it. So, freezes really good. You pop it out in the microwave or on the stove and heat it up, and it's just like, you know, I made that chicken noodle soup the other night. I've got 2 bags of it in the refrigerator to take out and heat up sometime. And I had made my niece a pot. She had to have surgery back last year, and I made her a pot of it, and then we sectioned it up, and she had soup for months. She'd get ready for some chicken noodle soup. She'd pull it out, heat it up, add a little water to it, and she was good to go. So don't throw your food away. If you make too much, don't throw it away. Just freeze it. All right, let's get this cornbread out. There's the cornbread. I could have let it go a little bit longer and it would have been a little bit browner, but it's just fine like it is. That's my favorite piece, that edge. There we go, guys. That's supper. Now all we gotta do is wait on Donnie to get home and we're ready to eat. So thank y'all for joining me today, and I hope you make some soup and some pumpkin muffins or pumpkin bundt cakes. Give them a try. Thanks y'all. Have a good night. I'll be watching. I'll post a picture of these little cakes. See ya.